Hi, and welcome to Work Camping Solar Nomad. Today, I'm going to show you a RV solar system that would allow you to sit in the middle of the desert, run your air conditioners to stay cool, and be comfortable without an electric hookup. This is a powerful system. I'm going to show you what I do to build it. This is my second mega system. My last one was a motorhome, and I'm showing you pictures of it in this video. I also have had many smaller systems depending upon what my needs were at the time. I've actually been full-time RVing for the last 18 years. Each system was built for my specific needs at the time. I will show you how I'm doing it and how to save thousands building one like this. This system will cost me less than 1/3 of the cost of my previous build and will be just as strong or stronger. I'm doing this video in still picture form, not moving video. I know that's a little bit different than normal, but I want you to be able to see how the system is put together, be able to look at how it's wired, and not have to go back over and over again to find some detail. I've had to do that with so many videos, and I don't want you to have to do that. I begin this video with pictures of my last build in a motorhome, a huge rack of solar panels on the top, 20 100 amp lithium batteries connected to several bus bars with 40 cables, 20 positive and 20 negative. That rig was an enormous amount of work, but it was so powerful, and the solar system paid for itself in savings in just a few months. My current build will be just as good, cost 1/3, and take 1/4 of the time and be more modern. The primary system is two 12-volt lithium batteries, together providing over 600 amp hours of power. I've attached the Amazon page to show the cost and more information. This primary battery bank matches the 12-volt system that the fifth wheel originally came with. I only needed to make one small adjustment. The Progressive Industries converter charges batteries at approximately 13.6 volts, which is perfect for lead acid. However, lithium should be charged at 14.6, give or take a point or two. I contacted Progressive Industries, who makes, I think, the vast majority of converters, and they sent me a free jumper, a little small plastic piece about 1/4 inch square that had two little holes in it, and all I had to do was disconnect one 4-prong clamp and set the jumper in place. It took me 5 minutes. And 5 minutes later, my charging system was charging at 14.6. The secondary bank is a 48-volt bank using four 48-volt server rack batteries. I chose these batteries after months of research. I wanted dual positive and negative posts. I wanted a screen I could read on each battery that I could ask it different things like state of charge, how many amps are coming in, how many amps are going out. There's 30 things I can find on these screens. I wanted each battery to have its own Bluetooth, so that way I could monitor each battery separately, and since I've networked them together, I can also monitor them as one unit. When I was researching batteries, I contacted several companies, and the Texex company, the one that I got these batteries from, were very responsive to my questions, and I normally had answers the same day. My previous build, as I'd mentioned earlier, had 20 batteries. That was 40 cables that had to be cut, sized, terminals applied to, and shrink wrapped and ready to go. It took hours and hours of work and lots of money because the heavier wiring is required for 12 volt. It took as long to create those cables as it did to actually mount the rest of that solar system. Now, this system that I'm putting in now, has 8 cables, and the cables came with it, and the terminals were already on them. So the cables that go from the battery to the inverter came with the batteries at no extra charge. The cables that go battery to battery so that the batteries can communicate with each other, they came with no charge. I want simplicity, I want it easy, I want it powerful, and I want it to give me ultimate comfort. I've been planning on this video now for about a week, and 2 nights ago, the snowstorm, ice storm hit Texas, and the temperatures outside got lows of 2 degrees, 4 degrees. I guess if you're in Michigan or Wisconsin, that's no big deal, but here it definitely was. I was feeling fairly comfortable though. I had my motorhome hooked up to a 50 amp campsite here at the campground, and I had my fireplace on, the electric fireplace. I had the an extra heater going. I had the propane heater going, and I had a propane heater going into the basement also. And I felt very comfortable with that. Well, about 2 o'clock in the morning while I was asleep, a blackout happened. The electricity went off, and I didn't know it. So the batteries had to take over the whole load of the electric fireplace, electricity to the propane heater in the furnace, the extra heaters. When I woke up in the morning, it was about 65 degrees, 70 degrees, nice and comfortable inside the RV when it was about 10 degrees outside. I realized that the electricity had turned off and that the batteries had been heating for about 5.5 hours. And I still had 60% charge on the batteries. I felt very good about that. Now, I'm not an electrician, an RV technician, a solar technician or professional of any kind. I make no claim that my way of building these projects are correct. I just know that as a layperson who has lived off-grid for several years of his life and depended on these systems, that this works for me. Let me also let you know that I'm not sponsored by these batteries. In fact, I have no sponsors. And I want to be able to share the 3 parts of this build: the batteries, the inverter, and the solar panels going on the roof. So I hope you subscribe. I would love to be able to walk you through any of this. And feel very free if you have questions that I could somehow help answer. I've had small solar rigs, I've had large solar rigs, and I keep up with current pricing and what's available. Anyway, subscribe if you would like. You have a great day. Thank you so much for listening to this, and may God bless.